What's going on, YouTube? This is going to be my video on comparing the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One together. I'm going to try to do something that you have not seen on YouTube before and that no one else has really talked about in their comparison video. I'm not going to say which system is better. I have my preference, but that's the system you'll see me playing when I'm online. If I have a friend that's like, hey, get on Xbox Live, I'm going to get on Xbox Live. If I have a friend that wants me to get on the PlayStation Network, I'll get on PlayStation Network. I like both consoles. I think both of them had their ups and their downs. And without making you look at this for any longer, let's get to comparing the consoles, okay? So it's a week until Christmas. As of this video, as of today, when you're watching this, it may be 2014, it may be 2015. But as of today, right now, we have exactly 1 week until Christmas. And I'm sorry for putting this video off for so long. I know there's going to be a lot of you that are up in arms about which system is better. And some of you may have a really hard time finding the PS4. And you're wondering, is it worth the wait? Should I go ahead and just spend $500 on the Xbox One? Or should I spend $400 on the PS4? And I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to try to cover things that no one else on YouTube has talked about. Or that you've Googled and found, instead of talking about things like, oh, I've upgraded the hard drive, you can easily spend $200 or $150 on 1 or 2 terabytes on a hard drive upgrade for this bad boy right here. And it's super simple to just pull this thing back, take the hard drive out, and replace it with a bigger hard drive or a faster hard drive. So, and my recommendation to you is to get a 1 terabyte Seagate solid state hybrid drive. They run for about $100 to $120. Part of it's an SSD, but most of it's a hard drive. So it's actually faster than using a stock hard drive, and you're getting 1 terabyte for a little over $100. I got mine for $99 when I did my PS3 hard drive upgrade video. Anyways, that's been talked about. That's been said time and time again. You can't upgrade the hard drive on the Xbox One, but there is a USB 3.0 slot here on the side, and there's 2 of them on the back. So it's going to be really easy to spend, $100 or $150 or whatever Microsoft decides to charge on an official USB external-based storage system, which is actually kind of cool because you can store your content on that and then go to another Xbox, and you should be able to load that content on there just fine. So let's get started. This is the PS4, of course. And this is the Xbox One. One of the very first things you notice is the fact that this sucker is absolutely ginormous. The Xbox One is. I took my retainers out, so now I can talk a little bit better than I could before. It's just, this thing is actually kind of light. And this thing is quite freaking heavy. Like, it weighs a lot. That doesn't matter because really the console is going to be sitting underneath your TV, on your shelf, or wherever you happen to have yours at. So it's really not a big deal at all. One thing I will cover that you've probably heard people talk about is the controller. I really like both of these controllers. Both controllers feel fantastic. I actually prefer the way the Xbox One controller feels in my hand. I much prefer this right here where you rest your hand the whole time. I really like the triggers. They're super soft, and since it's not like you gotta press down really hard, and I love the fact that the joysticks are spaced out like this. I've always been a fan of I like my PS3 and I like my Xbox 360. I've always been a fan of the fact that my fingers don't touch whenever I'm playing a game where I have to move right and look left at the same exact time. On the PS3 controller, my thumbs would always mash into each other, and I would mess up, and I wouldn't be able to turn correctly. It would just, it would just get so frustrating having to take your fingers off the trigger, put them like this, and then keep going. That was something I found really annoying. They have fixed that with this controller. I actually never touch my thumbs together, and I have really long fingers. I don't touch my thumbs together. It's awesome. They've also made it towards you can plug in any, and I do mean any, little headset into the bottom of your PlayStation controller. You can use a headset that came with your Galaxy S3 or S4. Any headset that came with your phone, you can plug right into there. Now, if it has a left and right earpiece, as of right now, as of this video, only one of those speakers is going to work. I think it's the right side. It's a mono output. Now this EXT, this other thing next to it, that might be for a future headset, so you can have a stereo headset coming out of your PlayStation 4 controller. So, but, I mean, as of right now, if you can't find a headset, you can just take any headset, only put one earpiece in your ear, and you can talk into the microphone, and you can talk to your friends and chat with them. And you can actually, if you have a headset plugged in, you can actually talk to your PlayStation and go PlayStation off. Very similar to what you do on the Xbox One with Kinect. Well, and Kinect comes, with it, and that's something we'll talk about. The cameras. We'll talk about that if I don't forget. So, the speaker right here is some games like Resogun or whatever that's called. It actually tells you, it gives you information out of this little mono speaker right here. So it's actually kind of cool, because if your TV's kind of far away from where you're sitting, your controller for you tells you, that your health or whatever. It's pretty cool. One thing I'm getting more and more used to it, but this is not the select button anymore. It's not back. It is the share button. And if you have accidentally pressed that button so many times that your hard drive is getting full because it keeps storing the last 15 minutes of gameplay, on my gaming channel, youtube.com/wwjoshdew, where I post tutorials, gameplay, commentary, stuff like that, I showed you how to delete all those things that you shared and you stored on your hard drive by accident. Or you may not have done them by accident, but you are running out of space and you need to remove those things. In most games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, this is actually the select button, where you press on that and it'll bring up the scores on, how many kills you've gotten and etc. I'm not a big fan of that. I think it's kind of last minute, somebody at the very last minute thought of that. Okay, that we can, that's a click. This is a mouse right here. You can actually use this in some games like Killzone. You can swipe left, swipe right, swipe up, swipe down. It's a little trackpad. And when you press down, it selects the action. So it's actually an extra button. A lot of games are using it as a select button. Of course, like always, there is a built-in battery, which some people are very, very, some people absolutely hate the fact that the Xbox One takes AA's and that this one has a built-in battery. But I can tell you that whenever my battery's dead, I actually don't mind being able to just pop the back off of, this and throw 2 AA's in there. I actually try not to use this controller because it's the day one edition because I pre-ordered my Xbox One, as soon as they, start talking about the release date. But in this controller, I have AA's that are lithiums, so they last forever. And then whenever these die, it takes if my battery's flashing or if it's letting me know my battery's low, it takes me all but 7 or 8 seconds to pull the back off, put 2 fresh lithiums, rechargeables, whatever I need to do in there, and keep playing. Whereas with this, I'm forced to either turn this controller off, stick it on my little charging base, and then use this controller. But what if you're playing multiplayer with a friend? You need your controller, so you're going to have to find a micro USB charging cable, which is awesome that they changed that and both of these use micro USB, so that's pretty awesome. But they changed it from mini USB like the PS3 to micro. So your Galaxy S3, your HTC One, your Note, every device that came with a micro USB charger, you can use that cable to charge this device. And so most of you should have plenty of those around, unless you're an iOS fan. Then you probably won't have that many of those. And on here, you can actually buy a little lithium pack that I have not purchased yet, but I plan on doing it very soon. And you just slide it in there, and it's fully charged. And you can charge that kind of like you do on here with your Xbox and your PlayStation. You plug it in, and it charges the battery pack that's in there. And you can buy 3 or 4 battery packs, have a little charging base, and always have a charged battery ready to throw in your controller if you're gaming and your battery's dead. Whereas with this, you have to charge it in the middle of your session, otherwise you're screwed. I don't mean to keep going on and on and on about this, but the controller is a very important device that you're using the entire time you're using your console. Well, unless you're using Kinect features or the PlayStation camera. So, and please don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing any controller. I'm not saying any controller or console is better than the other. Now, people will argue, oh, they should have included a little, rechargeable lithium pack that you can throw in there and, you know, charge while you're gaming and stuff. And it's cool because if you're using the little rechargeable pack that you buy for like $25, as of right now it's $25. It's a wired connection, so it turns off wireless on the device. It charges the pack that's in your controller, and now you're using a wired connection. So you don't need to buy a wired controller. You really don't. It's pretty cool. It's not like you're charging the pack and it's still using the wireless feature. You're actually using a wired connection where there's no lag or delay at all between, you know, the commands that you're sitting to, you know, like every time you move a joystick, press a button, or etc. And this one uses a very, very proprietary connection. It's like a USB, but it's not anything you're going to be able to plug into there unless you're a hacker and you can mod your controller and change that to like a standard USB port or something. I don't know. I'm not recommending that. Another thing that I want to talk about is the triggers. I love this controller. It's by far like, if I could, I would take the feel of this controller, the sides right here, and the joysticks, and I would put them onto the PlayStation 4 controller. Now, there's nothing wrong with the PlayStation 4 controller. I like it. I use it almost every single day. I play a ton of Call of Duty and a ton of Battlefield. I also like games like Need for Speed and Burnout and stuff like that. So, and Halo, I'm an absolutely huge Halo fan. Waited in line for Halo 2, waited in line for Halo 3, waited in line for Halo 3 ODS, or Halo ODST, Halo Reach, Halo 4. I waited in line at GameStop for every single one of those games. So I'm a huge Halo fan, and that's the biggest reason I still have my Xbox, and that I didn't sell it. I'm not going there. Anyways, both consoles have their ups and their downs. Both consoles are going to have proprietary games that the other one's not going to have. This one is an all-in-one entertainment center where you can hook your cable box into it. You can go Xbox, watch AMC, and now you're watching The Walking Dead. If it had come out before Dexter ended, you could have gone to Xbox, watch Showtime, and you're watching Dexter. Xbox, watch Nickelodeon. You can teach your kid how to easily change the channel, which my daughter, you know, she's like 6 years old and she's already going Xbox, and she's telling it what to do without using a controller. It's pretty freaking awesome. Now, if you get the PlayStation Eye, which is something I'm going to cover real quick, the Xbox One comes with Kinect. That's the biggest difference between the $100 price tag. It comes with Kinect, which serves many purposes. It's 1080p for Skype chat, and when you're in a Skype chat, it'll automatically zoom in onto you. So like, instead of capturing your entire living room, it'll focus on you. So if you move around, you'll see the camera actually, like, it won't move, but it'll actually follow you by zooming in on you. And, you know, so that if your living room's not the cleanest, it'll focus on you and not the other stuff around it. It's actually a separate purchase on the PS4. So if you're wanting to do voice commands, and you don't have a headset plugged in, you're not going to be able to. And the average person, that if the Xbox One had been $399 like the PS4, the average person probably isn't going to go, you know, out and purchase the $100 Kinect sensor or a $60 Kinect sensor or whatever they decide to charge for it if it was a separate purchase. At least for me, okay? I didn't purchase the camera right away because, well, that's an extra $60 and I already spent $400. Why would I want to go spend $60 more on top of $400? So the fact that they're like, every single person that has an Xbox One can do a video chat with somebody else. Every single person that has the Xbox One can Skype with friends. Every single person that has an Xbox One can do voice commands. They can tell their Xbox to turn on. They can tell their Xbox to turn off. They can tell their Xbox to go home. They can tell their Xbox anything they want to tell it, and it'll listen. And you can turn those features on and off in the settings. I promise you that. The only thing is when you go to chat with somebody, if you don't have a headset plugged in, you're going to be, you know, on Skype and they're not going to be able to hear you. And then you're going to go to the settings and you have to turn the microphone back on. And, you know, I just keep it on, whatever. Yeah. So, going back to the controllers, my videos are all shot pretty much like, I'm just kind of talking about things, one thing leads to another, and I get super excited. I have ADHD, and I totally forget something that I'm talking about, and I go on to something new. So the triggers on, I don't know about you, but most of the time when I'm playing video games, I have my hands like this. And every person I've talked to has said they keep their fingers like this. So whenever they're shooting in Call of Duty, which Call of Duty, they now use these by default to shoot instead of these. Which whenever I go to the PlayStation 3 to play with subscribers that don't have a PS4, I'm like, I keep pressing this instead of these. I actually got used to this, and being someone that has been had an Xbox since the original Xbox, like the big freaking black thing that required a freaking little thing on the controller slot to play DVDs, I've always been a fan of the triggers for racing games and shooters and everything, so I like that. Anyways, whenever you go to do something that requires an action, I just tap that. It's super simple. There's not even, it's like, it's so close and it's so easy to hit that. If you're someone that plays like this, good for you. I can't do that. That's not how I play. I just don't do that. On here, and anybody that's ever touched this controller, my wife, my brothers, I have several brothers, half-brothers, step-brothers, I have tons of family, and every one of them that's ever touched it has gone to play like this, has gone to reach up for this button, and it strains your finger. I mean, you're really bending that finger to hit that. Now, again, I'm not dissing the controller, and it's so simple. Do you remember for those of you that are older, like me, I'm not 30 yet, but I'm getting there. You guys have probably had the original Xbox. And you remember back in the day when the buttons were at an angle, they weren't like, perfectly spaced out like this, and they were kind of hard to press on the original Xbox, and then they updated it with the smaller, slimmer controllers, and the buttons were, like that. Dude, they could easily redesign this controller, or you could buy a third-party controller from like Evil Controllers, Gearhead Modding. You can buy a custom controller from nearly anywhere, and they could easily fix that and make the trigger button easy to press. Microsoft could come out and say, yeah, it is a little bit hard to hit that button. We didn't think that through. And they could release an updated version of this controller. Or just simply buy a third-party controller where they have addressed that issue. Or just get used to playing like this. If you get used to playing like this, then you're going to easily hit those buttons every time without, straining that finger to get to that button. Again, I play freaking both of these consoles. I like both of these consoles. I think they both have something that the other one doesn't offer. I like them both. I'm not dissing. I've already told you, I prefer the Xbox One controller as far as the feel, but I prefer the button layout on this one right here. Originally, I had planned on making this video much shorter, but covering everything I want to talk about, it's taking a little bit longer than I expected. So, let's leave the controllers aside. I use a DSLR, a Canon 60D, and I use a VideoMic Pro for the audio. Apparently my VideoMic Pro had become unplugged, and so the audio was super quiet because it was using the built-in microphone on the Canon 60D. Thanks to the power of video editing, and to one of my friends' 8-bit digital TV who walked me through how to use the multi-band compressor feature inside Adobe Premiere Pro and raise the volume, I was able to increase the volume to a point where it was decent, it was okay, and here in a little bit, I figured out that it was unplugged, I plugged it back in, so that's why there's going to be a pretty big change in audio. It's not going to be like loud or you can turn your speakers down or anything like that. It's just going to sound a lot different and a lot better. Let's set the controllers aside and let's get on with something else. The PlayStation 4 has 2 USB ports in the front, which is very, very nice because you can have the controller charging. You can have your controller charging and someone else's controller charging while you're playing because you cannot just simply put a freshly 100% charged battery in game for many more hours. Tons of more hours. So it's got them in the front and you can easily charge your controller. The Xbox One has one USB port here on the side. So you're not going to, unless you take the cables, put them in the back and you run them over the console or somehow figure out how to get them to come to your controller, you're not going to be able to charge them while you play. That being said, you can easily go out and purchase a couple rechargeable packs, the official ones from Microsoft, Or you can have double A's laying around and just simply swap them out and be fully charged in like seconds instead of like, you know, hours for whatever it takes for the controller to charge. I've never tested it out. So both of these have this is the eject button, this is the eject button, this is the power button, this is the power button. Moving around to the back, you have power, optical, HDMI, Ethernet, and then like a service port thing. You can't plug a USB accessory into it. So you only have 2 USB ports on this unit. You can easily purchase a USB 4-port hub or a 7-port hub or whatever, and I have videos on those on my channel. Just search wwjoshdew pluggable USB hub. And on here, this sucker is heavy. You've got 2 USB 3.0, you've got HDMI in for your cable box, HDMI out to your TV, power, optical, the Connect sensor, and then you have it like a IR like an IR blaster or like a little receiver that picks IR up somewhere else, and then gigabit Ethernet. And you got a massive fan that keeps the console relatively cool. It still gets pretty hot, but it keeps it relatively cool. On here, it has a much smaller fan, but this console doesn't get that hot, so I wouldn't even worry about it. Going back to the controllers, again, I told you I have ADHD. My microphone wasn't working at one point, so I might have I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but now on my microphone, since it's working, I guess it got unplugged and I got too excited. Anyways, on the controllers, whenever you have a friend over playing on, we're going to talk about the PS4 first. The light back here shines different colors. Like it glows orange when it's charging and it's off. I decided to go ahead and just show you what it looks like when you turn the console on, and then you'll also see that the controller turns red on the second player. I don't have a third or fourth controller yet, so I don't know what those colors would change to. While I have a little bit of time, I will also go ahead and say that the light flashes blue when it starts up, and then mine's usually white when the system is on. And then when it's in standby mode, the light turns orange. And then like, say I'm playing by myself on Call of Duty, it will turn blue. And then if my wife wants to play with me split screen online, hers will turn red. So I'm assuming if you had a third and fourth controller, that those controllers would all change different colors, letting you know which player's which. And the cool thing is if you have these controllers sitting down, if I just pick it up like that, it'll say, this is Josh's screen. And then if my wife picks this up, it'll say this is, you know, her screen. So it'll tell you which controller you just picked up. I'm guessing it goes by like the fact that the controller was sitting still and now the sensors in it pick up the fact that it's moving and it notifies you which controller's which. This is all software related. The Xbox could technically update the dashboard and do something like that in the future. But as of right now, when you turn this controller on, you've got this one light right here. There's no rings to let you know this is the first player, the second player, this is off, so it's not gonna actually connect to it. It's not gonna tell you which player's which is, you know, I mean, it's more of a press the little button right here, it'll take you to the dashboard, and from there you'll be able to tell which player had which controller. So, I mean, it would have been cool if they would have thought something out where, like, this, you know, like the Xbox 360, they had 4 rings, 4 players, something, like some kind of light, like this light changes or does something to let you know which controller is which, instead of hitting the guide button, going to the dashboard, and then figuring it out from there. Or if you have, like, you know, 3 or 4 controllers connected, just picking one up and pressing the buttons, and I don't know. Or just remembering where you placed your controller at when you put it down. Again, this is all as of right now. Look at the date of the video before you leave a comment and say, oh, now you can do this and this is how you can tell. As of right now, I've had both of these consoles since their respective release date and waited in line at GameStop and got both of them. Now, the Xbox One headset is pretty cool. It plugs into the bottom, it's got a volume up and down, a mute button, and it's right there near the controller, which is something I really like, because when you're gaming and your daughter walks in and she's being loud and you don't want your teammates to be interrupted by her, you can just press the mute button on the controller right there, instead of like on the PS4, the little headset it comes with, you've got to go along the wire, find the little part where it says mute, like to flip the little switch up, and then be muted, and then unmute it. You can quickly just look at your controller and see, oh, it's muted, or something. It's a better headset. But you can always buy an alternative headset like Turtle Beach or Astro or something when they update them to work with the PS4, or make PS4 versions and use that instead. Something else I want to talk about is the fact that when you have the Kinect camera on, my wife could be playing Dead Rising or Forza or any game she wants to play, and if I walk in the room in the middle of her game, it'll say, "Hi Josh," and it signed me in automatically. I didn't necessarily want to be signed in. I was just walking over to my computer, which, is in the same room as the Kinect sensor. So it's like, I wish, and then again, look at the date of the video. They could easily release an update that lets you change that, or say you're in a multiplayer game where, like Call of Duty, where it's like, press A to add another controller. Like, there should either be an option where, like, if you're in the middle of a game, if you're not at the dashboard, that, it'll ignore other people that walk in front of the sensor, and it won't sign them in automatically. Like I said, every time I walk to my computer, I don't want it to sign me in while she's playing a single player game. There's no point in it. But it does, because it knows that I walked in the room, so it's going to sign me in. It's a little bit frustrating. I like the fact that it signs me in when I turn my Xbox on and I'm looking at the Kinect. It knows, hey, this is Josh. Let's sign him into his gamer tag. Or, hey, this is his wife. Let's sign her into her gamer tag. I like that. And the PlayStation camera probably does something similar, and it could be the same problem. You could be playing Killzone on a single player game, and then all of a sudden it signs in whoever walks in front of the PlayStation camera. I don't have it as of yet. I plan on purchasing it very soon, but I don't have it yet. So that's just one. It's not a huge deal. I can just press the guide button on the controller, go to the top, turn off, sign out. I'm not showing you the dashboard because of the stupid content ID thing, and I don't want to get in any trouble with content ID. If you don't believe me, I've had videos in the past where I deleted them because I would post it, and then they'd go, "Oh, you don't own the rights to the screen that you're showing, like the dashboard. Like, you don't own that right to show that." And so they would either give me a copyright strike, they would disable the video, whatever. So I'm not showing you the dashboard, as I don't want this video to be removed. Another small issue is in games like Dead Rising. If you have an Xbox One, you probably know what I'm talking about. You pause the game, you go away for a second to do something, you come back and it's unpaused. Probably because somebody in the room says something and the Kinect picks it up and it unpauses it, because the game wants you to shout like crazy commands, like, "You're crazy," and stuff like that while you're playing. So it's always listening to the Kinect sensor. It's just a minor, small issue, just something I thought I'd bring up real quick. Anyways, PSN versus Xbox Live. Both of these consoles require you to pay a premium membership fee to play online. Previously, the PS3 was free, and the Xbox 360, you had to pay, for each gamer tag that was on that console had to have their own gold membership to play online. So like if your brother had gold and you didn't, you had to use his name if it was okay with him in order to play online. Now on the PS4, it's the same exact way. I had purchased PlayStation Plus in like November 2012 to try it out. I did a 3-month and I liked it. I liked the fact that every month I was getting free games. Like, Borderlands 2 was free. Grid 2 was free. Gotten Battlefield 3, the whole premium thing with every single downloadable map, several months ago, that was completely free on the PS3. So they offer free games to PlayStation Plus subscribers. So I renewed my year membership in February of 2013, and I'll renew it again in February of 2014. Now, my wife, she didn't have PlayStation Plus, and if she went to play Call of Duty, it would say, you need PlayStation Plus in order to play this online. Now, there are going to be some games where they allow you to play online for free, but games like Battlefield and Call of Duty, it says when you turn it on, please make sure you've activated PlayStation Plus before trying to play multiplayer. It is required on both of these consoles. Now, here's something that, like I said in the beginning, where I don't think anybody else has covered this. I want to talk about the cost of both consoles over their lifetime. On the PS4, I have to pay $50 a year in order to have PlayStation Plus, which I'm fine with that. I've been paying for Xbox Live since 2003, when I was playing Mech Assault, Splinter Cell, Halo 1, Halo 2 came out, I was playing that online. I paid Microsoft $50 a year, and in fact, for a little over 2 years, well, 2 times I renewed my Gold Family plan, where you spent $99 and you got 4 gamer tags, because it was $59 to renew my membership, and it was $59 to renew my wife's membership. So it's $120 per year for both of us to have our own gamer tags to play online. Now, they included that Gold Family plan thing where like $99 for accounts. So I got a membership, my wife got a membership, I had 2 brothers that didn't have Gold, and I was like, hey, you give me $25 every year, and I'll keep letting you have Xbox Live Gold. So they kept giving me $25 every year. They kept their Gold account. Well, they did away with that, and they did something that was even better. 1 Gold membership per Xbox One. You heard that right. If you have 3 kids, and each of your 3 kids wants their own gamer tag, and say, when my daughter's old enough to play video games and understand how to operate this console, I'm going to have my own gamer tag. She's going to have her own gamer tag. My wife's going to have her own gamer tag. If I have another kid and they're old enough to have... Every single person that touches this console can have Gold. If you dig in the settings, you will find an option called Activate Home Console or Deactivate Home Console. Basically, my wife has a Gold membership, and so since she's on that console, I can sign in, and I don't have Xbox Live Gold. I don't want to pay for Xbox Live Gold. So all we need to do is every year spend 1 membership. I can use my gamer tag, she can use her gamer tag. If my brothers come over and they want to play online, they can sign into their account. And if they didn't have Gold before, they do now. Now, the moment they go home and get on their Xbox 360, they don't have Gold, they have Silver, because it's per console. So if you have 3 kids, you and your wife both play, that's 5 people, you're spending 1 membership every year for all 5 of you, plus any friends or family that comes over and wants to use their gamer tag on your Xbox. It's beautiful. You're spending 60, 50, 40. Sometimes you can find memberships on Amazon for $39.99. And all you need is that 1 Gold membership. And if you're following me on Twitter or Facebook, more than likely I'll post on Twitter, I will tweet out anytime there's a really, really good deal on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network. Amazon had PlayStation Plus for just $29.99 for a 1-year membership. That's when we picked up my wife's 1-year membership. And like I said, Xbox Live just the other day was only $34.99 for a 1-year membership on Newegg, and I tweeted about that. So if you want to follow me, it's twitter.com/wwjoshdew, or if you're on Twitter, it's just at wwjoshdew, just like my YouTube username. What you're seeing below, right above that subscribe button, and if you're new to my channel, and if that button is red, please press it. You'll subscribe to my channel, and you'll see any future videos on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. I actually have a green slick wraps coming for my PS4 that's going to turn this entire console green, and it comes with a controller slick wrap where you can make the controller green as well, and you can choose your color, you can make it anything you want to. So that video will probably be up by the time you're watching this video, because it should come tomorrow. And I'll do that video tomorrow. So just to recap this, $500 gets you this console, a camera that will let you video chat with friends, Skype with friends. The microphone on it is insanely good. On Xbox Live with a friend of mine, Metal571, and he was like, man, even though I can see you're clearly across the room, every time you talk, it sounds like you're right next to it, and it sounds good. And he confirmed that when he was talking, he did not hear himself. Like, since it's right next to the TV, you would think that when he's talking, the speakers would pick up his voice. That's because he's talking to his microphone on his end and over, Skype, because we were on Skype. He was on his computer. So his headset on his computer was going through the speakers on my TV, and my voice was going through the Kinect sensor, which was right underneath those speakers. And he said it sounded good, and he could not hear himself while he was talking. So they did a really good job with that Kinect sensor. Anyways, I have ADHD. I told you that before. It's bad. But on here, you're spending $3.99, which is less. And you can choose to go out and spend $60 or whatever the cost is on that camera if you want it. I think it was kind of a smart move to have every single person out there have a Kinect sensor, because if they made it an option where you could buy a $3.99 model without the $100 camera, then, or $75 or whatever it costs to buy it separately if you can, then a lot of people, I feel, wouldn't have got it. If you go over to someone's house, are you going to see a Kinect sensor on top of their Xbox 360? Probably not. There are tons of people out there that did get the Kinect sensor for the Xbox 360. But not every single person's going to have it. So you're like, hey, do you want to chat? You want to video chat? And they're like, I don't have a Kinect. If you have an Xbox One, you have a Kinect. So I think it was kind of a smart move. And then, last but not least, if you get the cheaper console and you want your kids to play online, each person that has their own unique name is going to have to, have a $50 membership. If you can find it for a good deal on Amazon, do it. But each and every person, if you find a deal where it's $40 for 1 year of PlayStation Plus on Amazon or something, or Newegg or wherever you find it, you're going to have to spend $40 on all three of your kids. Well, let's say it's $50. You bought it from the, you turned your PlayStation on. It was like, you need PlayStation Plus. You said, okay, I want PlayStation Plus. You spend $50 on Josh. Okay? Jacob wants to play too. You spend $50 on Jacob. Okay, say Sam wants to play. You just spend $50 on Sam. You just spend $150 for all three of your kids to have a membership for 1 year. Now, after 1 year, it's going to resort back to just a normal free PSN account, and they're not going to be able to play online anymore. After that year, you're going to have to renew that membership and spend another $50, $50. That's $150 every year for three of your kids to play. That's not including yourself if you want to play as well. Now, we're a week away from Christmas 2013. PlayStation could easily do something very similar to Xbox One. They could have an offer that's very, very similar if they want to compete with Xbox Live. Again, in no way am I bashing either console. I have PlayStation Plus for 1 year on my account, and I have PlayStation Plus for 1 year on my wife's account. But on the Xbox One, we just have one gold membership, and then I can use that gold membership. My brothers can use that gold membership, and anybody else that comes over and uses my Xbox One can use that gold membership on their own unique name. I'm not saying which console I prefer based on the facts that I just laid in front of you, and trust me, they are all facts. If you think you're going to buy a $399 console and hop online and play online for free, you're going to be very, very shocked when it says, please insert your credit card, please give us $20 for 3 months, or please give us $50 for 1 year. On every single gamer, you may have a 6-year-old and they're on a free account and you don't want them playing online. That's fine. You're not going to have to pay for them unless you want them to play online. If they want to play online, they're going to have to use a name on that console that has PlayStation Plus. I know I'm kind of repeating myself here. I'm just trying to make you very, very aware of the fact that over the course of these consoles' lifetime, every year, you're only spending, $40, $50, $60, however much you pay for Xbox Live for 1 year, for all of your kids and yourself or your friends or your roommates to use one Xbox One. But every single person that wants to play online with their own unique name has to spend money on a 3-month or a 1 year membership on PlayStation Plus. As of today, as of right now, it is obviously cheaper to buy one membership per year for all of your family to use one console instead of spending money on every single person that wants to use the console. I love my PlayStation 4. I play my PlayStation 4 more than my Xbox One, but I do like my Xbox One. I promise you that. I'm going to end this video. Again, if you want to follow me on Twitter, feel free to do so. That's how you'll stay up to date on the latest videos that I'm working on. Anytime I find really good deals on, games or memberships or anything like that, I'll tweet about it. I also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/wwjoshdew. I have Google Plus. Just type google.com/the little plus symbol, wwjoshdew. I have Instagram, where I post Instagram videos and pictures all the time. Instagram.com/wwjoshdew. If nothing's showing up, that's because you have to press the follow button, and as soon as I get a notification on my tablet or my phone, I will immediately accept it, and you'll be able to see all of my pictures and videos on Instagram. I'm on everything. On PSN, I'm wwjoshdew. On Xbox Live, I'm wwjoshdew, not DWDO. Just go to your favorite service, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, whatever, and do @wwjoshdew, and you should find me. And I'll have links to the ones I use the most, like my Twitch and my Ustream account for when I'm streaming from the new consoles. Those are @wwjoshdew as well. Links to those will be in the description below. You'll want to click where it says show more, expand the description, and see all the links that are there. This is What Would Josh Do, and I'm out. Here is the size comparison of the Xbox One and the PS4. Not that it matters, not that it changes anything. Again, the console sits under your TV or wherever you happen to place it, and you're not moving it around all the time, so it really doesn't matter. Just wanted to make it clear. There you go.